We're there though. Present. Recording.
Meeting been posted to the announcement orders chapter 2:31 p.m.
Yes, it has.
Thank you. Will you call roll call?
Sure. Trustee Barrera. Here. Trustee Gatto.
Here.
Trustee Jacko.
Here.
Trustee Lopez.
Here.
Trustee Sheldon. Here. Vice President Lamparello.
Here.
President Cronlund.
Here.
New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of this board, except where specifically exempted by law, at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the same advertised in the Belleville Times. Also, notice of this meeting has been mailed to the members of the board, the borough clerk, all elementary schools, middle school, high school, and posted on the district website.
Thank you. Could I have a motion on approval of minutes for the December 17th?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Barrera.
Yes.
Trustee Gatto.
Yes.
Trustee Jacko.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Sheldon. Yes. Vice President Lamparello.
Yes.
President Cronlund.
Yes. Do I have a motion on approval of the minutes for the January 2nd closed session?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, let's close them. Roll call, please.
Trustee Barrera.
Yes.
Trustee Gatto.
Yes.
Trustee Jacko.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Sheldon. Yes. Vice President Lamparello.
Yes.
President Cronlund.
Yes. And superintendent's report. Is there a student representative here tonight? Yes? Come.
No.
All right. Dr. Blanco, do we have your report?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to our first meeting, our first regular meeting of the school year. We appreciate you coming as usual. A lot of great things happening in the district. Very, very excited to see the projects out front from our Gifted and Talented program. And Mr. Vargas is going to come up in a minute. We're going to do a little presentation regarding that program. It's something that we've been working on over the past few years, trying to make it one of the if not the best program in the district. I'm sorry, in the state. What we did add this year was a traveling STEM Gifted and Talented facilitator, who is Dr. Alfano, who's here with us this evening. And our idea was, with this board and through committees for the past several years, was to see how can we get this gifted and talented feel for science through all of our children, whether they basically test into this program or not. And what we came up with was this traveling STEM initiative where our students are learning about different things with robotics and environment and all these different areas. And Dr. Alfano has taken that on this year, and she does our robotics here at the high school for one period, and then she travels to your children's schools to make sure that we go above and beyond the STEM initiative that we have here in New Jersey. So we're really proud of that. Again, we're trying to work out some of those issues that you have with traveling and supplies and whatnot, so I appreciate all the help from Dr. Alfano and our teachers and our administrators. So we're excited that we have a lot of those great activities that were spotlighted this evening when we came in. Our kids do excellent work here. Our teachers are very dedicated, so I continue to be in awe of what our community does and our school community does here in Belleville. Second to none. Our teachers, our administrators, our kids, we'll put them in front of anybody in this state, in this country. I think we can all agree to that. So the progress we are making in district with everything from extracurriculars to all our curricular movements is just phenomenal. So I want to thank everyone again. School Board Recognition Month is January. We put a little resolution on here. And I think it's interesting. I think the board members up here on the dais, some being here for maybe only 1 month, some being here for 4 years now. I think it's easy for people to sit out there sometimes and just look up on the dais and basically say, it's a rubber stamp, it's whatever's on the paper, but the countless hours that these individuals have and will continue to do for your children, our students, our community, is an incredible amount of hours through committees, emails, research, their own trainings that are mandatory and even non-mandatory trainings, county meetings. I know I'm leaving some stuff out. I'm sure I'm going to email later saying, you forgot this and you forgot that. But countless hours, volunteer time through their elected office that you put them here to make sure that our policies are in check, to make sure that the schools are running efficiently. So personally, I want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of them for all of their dedication to our students and our community. Thank you so much. It's great working with all of you. And I know all of our decisions, whether we disagree at times or not, we put our best foot forward for the sake of our students. So thank you very much. We'll give them a round of applause right now. Thank you. The house is coming down. Thank you very much. So at this time, I would like to introduce one of our administrators here who has been instrumental in putting our best foot forward with regard to mental health awareness here in the district. So when I first got here in 2015, one of the first things we did was to entice the board at the time, which were all different members, to consider making Belleville one of the first stigma-free school districts in New Jersey. We agreed at the time, and it was a long process getting to where we are today, which where I consider ourselves really on the forefront of being what we consider here stigma-free. Over the past few years, we put in drop-in centers in both the high school and the middle school. We've added programs, under Mrs. Correnti's guidance and her department, and Mr. Klein with the child study team members. We've really made mental health awareness a major issue here in making sure that the board is dedicated to fulfilling the mission of teaching the entire child. And with that sometimes comes along dealing with some of their family issues and issues outside of school as well. One of the greatest things I think we did here as a district, and myself personally, was partnering with the Cody Foundation. It's something that we are very excited in, the direction and the support that we get from this foundation. Director Bannon and Governor Cody, who's here today, to talk to us a little bit about what they do and supporting our stigma-free society here in Belleville is something that, there's no monetary value that we can put for what they are doing for our children here with Mrs. Parenti and our team. So without further ado, for a little bit more of, I don't know how you're going to match that, but if you can get up and just say a few words, Mrs. Parenti.
Good evening. The Belleville School District is honored to be the company of former Governor Richard Cody and Executive Director Julie Bannon of the Cody Fund for Mental Health. The organization was established in 2012 by the Governor and Mrs. Cody with the mission to ensure that compassionate, quality mental health care would be accessible to everyone, and that the stigma associated with mental illness to overcome through public awareness and education. Dr. Tomko and the Board of Education, in keeping with the mission of Governor Cody, have offered their support in creating drop-in centers at the high school and middle school levels as a safe place for our students to address mental health issues. The Belleville School District is committed to joining Governor Cody in his passion to overcome stigma, stereotyping, and discrimination by creating a stigma-free school zone. Please join me in welcoming Governor Cody.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. By the way, I heard the Gifted Talent Program, something I really never saw in my career. So I must say, I was invited when I was governor to talk at Princeton University. And I get up and I said, listen, I was almost a student here. But I was 400 points less on the SATs than you won. And I paused and I said, and that was just on the math side. But you never know in life. So, I don't know if anybody knows this, but I was born and raised in my parents' funeral home. We lived on the 3rd floor. Elevator went to the 2nd floor. And for most of our living there, the air conditioning went to the 2nd floor as well. But I learned compassion from people, and I watched how my parents treated people and how well they were within the community of the city and within the town. Let me tell you this. For all the time that I worked here from the age of 14, obviously I was governor and others, I wasn't working there. But as a kid, I never heard of a funeral for a teenager who committed suicide. It did not happen. Other funeral directors did not have funerals for teenagers who committed suicide. But the reality is, whether here in Belleville, or in West Orange, or in South Jersey or Central, our students, every day, there's a discussion about suicide. That's the reality of today's life. It's hard to accept, but it's real. Almost 100 students, teenagers, here in our state die from suicide. Almost 1,000, over 1,000, each year get admitted to the emergency room through our hospitals here in the state for unsuccessful attempts at suicide. And I'm well aware that there's some hospitals that do not report that. And also that many parents who come in with their child say, well, something else happened. They don't want to admit that it was, in fact, from an unsuccessful suicide attempt. So what we're trying to do, and by the way, I I think your superintendent is fabulous. The way he handles himself, the way he talks to each other, and the things that he's done, and I'm very impressed. I'm sure he doesn't even live in my district. I can't believe it. Whatever. So when we came over to Belleville, you're welcome with open arms. I was took us to the crisis center. I haven't seen one in drug school. I don't know whether or not there are at another. I know we've worked with a lot of the colleges, and they have 24-hour counselors. Now, with a lot of you, and those of us who went to college, there was no such thing as a counseling office. It didn't happen. Now, people will say, well, why during a lot of our generation did teenagers not commit suicide as opposed to now? I can throw two things out to you. One of them is that organized religion. I was born all-in Catholic. We had the funeral home, which was next to the church, the convent, the rectory, the cemetery, and the school. But without realizing it, that served as a mentor for myself and my brothers and sisters in life. There was always somebody that we could talk to other than our parents. I always remember that at Orange High School, there was a Mrs. Jones who always made sure that when I got there was an ice cream bar for me. But more importantly than that ice cream sandwich was the fact that I could talk to her about something that I didn't want to talk to my parents about. Or it could have been a CYO coach, or it could be someone who did the entertainment at church. And nowadays, to be frank, my sons do not go to church. And I'm sure many of you, your children, no longer go to church. So that generation is not going to temple, to church, whatever. They're losing the mentors. More and more of society, individuals, we have less friends than the generations that preceded us. Enrollment, participation in civic clubs is way down. Way down. When I was a kid, there was the Republican Club, which was really not a Republican Club or a Democratic Club. It was a card game club. It is what it is, right? But you had the Italian American, the Irish American, or whatever. And the VFW, they were all strong. I always remember one of the good things about Christmas was I was able to take us to all those organizations, pick up gifts. They no longer exist. I get the number of block parties in our country is down severely. So the ways that we have, the normal ways that we used to have of interacting and making friends and having friends no longer exist. And our children are more likely to move away from where they grew up. Again, another loss in friendship. People have no way to interact and rely on other people. But regardless of why, it's here, it's not going away, and we need to do something about it. So what we have found, we have how many towns so far have signed up for senior? 27, and we have half of the colleges. And if you go in one of their states, they have an excellent program. They have our sign. Ramapo, Seton Hall. I'd say we got about 10 or 14. But I'm also heavily involved in basketball. And one of the trainers approached me about setting up mental health counselors just for athletes. And they had about 300, and they estimated about 13 the first year were needed. They had 16 the first month. it shows you that there's a need there. Colleges is a tough thing for many people. What happens a lot in colleges, you may get a student development wherever, and he or she was a A+ student, and now they're up, Columbia, or wherever, and they're no longer the #1 student. And it's hard for them to accept that. They go into a deep depression. Hopefully, they do not commit suicide. So, we started a program where we go into the schools, we talk to the non-teaching personnel at this point, and tell them how to handle students. Listen, everybody's got a favorite teacher, but a lot of kids have favorite personnel. I asked my son, I said, when you really want to talk to mom and dad, who would you talk to? They both named the security guard. That's who they went to. So those people are the people who are out trained and know how to deal with these students. For example, a student might say, you know, Mr. So-and-so, yeah, I'm really thinking about suicide, but don't say anything to anybody that I'm thinking about doing it. And we have to tell that person, no, you got to say something. Let them get mad at you, but you've got to go to the correct people to get help for that child who is, in fact, in crisis. And so, you know, my wife suffered severe postpartum depression for 18 years, in and out of hospitals, 18 shock therapy treatments, and also, of course, at the age of 45, double breast cancer, in a life and death home. It's up every day of this month, never an issue. There was a couple of families in our house on Saturday with loved ones who were very sick. We were there with them. So the struggle goes on, and we're happy to be a part of it. But what you'll find out is that, by the way, I went up with one of my troopers one day to deliver signs and talk to people up in Jefferson. I think they were up there. I'll tell you what, that's God country. And all I saw was trees and woods. I'm not willing to do that. And the worst thing that happened was we got out of the trooper's cars and guns went off because we were beat up. And the mayor left. And he said, no, that's the police firing range next to City Hall. That next to City Hall aren't driving well. We'll go back at it. But he was telling me about how they had a lot of phone calls about what does this mean to Mayor Kent. All Republicans, here, what party I belong to, and they say it stimulated conversation about the issue and how to deal with it. One of the biggest things we like to tell people is if you'll speak up and get help, we can get you cured. If you don't want to tell anybody because you're too embarrassed, it's a tough road to do it by yourself. So by doing this today, we've taken a step forward here in this town because of the people behind me on the stage. Now, with that, if anybody want to ask some questions? Answer or engage. Whatever.
No, again, if there are no questions, we just want to thank you again for all of your support this year. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Ms. Chaco.
Governor Cooley, thank you for coming tonight. I really think that it's important that some information is given about a serious situation that does exist and a lot of people don't speak about it. And I heard you speak about your wife and certain situations that transpired, and I wanted to find out, how did you cope with it and overcome it? What methods did you use? Because that would be very inspirational to other people that might be dealing with similar situations.
Sure. So she was embarrassed was a teacher, absolutely loved it, and I met her. She was, well, I always like to say that Carla Rice is 10 years younger than me, was about 15 years younger. So I always say I married my high school sweetheart. When I married her, she was in high school. You got that, huh? So, she loves kids. So, when our first son was born, and I didn't even know that she was shying away. And so finally she told me that she was depressed. And so I got her some help. But what she would do, she, you know, never could see into our house. Blinds were always closed, the graves, so forth and so on. And when she had no patient, she went not where she lived in West Orange, but someplace in Orange County where somebody did not know her. First, she was embarrassed. She was embarrassed that she wanted so badly to have a child. And she talked openly and frankly about she had thoughts of drowning her son and killing him. So she couldn't get over those thoughts. So she was hospitalized down in Carrier. Eventually came home, not doing well, and over the course of many years, and some other hospitalizations, and shock therapy. By the way, if you have a loved one, something suggests shock therapy, don't be afraid. Really, since she had those treatments, it's going to be finding more, and they can help. Really help. You know, big stigma about that as well. And she talked openly about, you know, wanting to kill our son. That's a frightening sight. We probably heard about some mothers who actually did do that. They were so ill that they took that step. Now they don't know all the changes that all goes through. She's pregnant when she delivers. And incredible is that on the line. So the more we talk about it, the more we say, hey, you can get help, you can survive, you can be happy with it. And I went to a funeral with somebody, a father, who died from suicide, and he was incredibly thankful that she had a good 10 years when she came into our house. Discuss with mental illness. But we need people that talk to each other. So unfortunately, we lost that sense of community that we used to have. And so that was the main functions that we serve for all those churches. All those people who were members, looked out for them, like to talk to them. That doesn't exist in our society. What about one good thing about mental illness? Whether it's that you're rich or poor, whether you're a governor or a first lady, it doesn't matter. It doesn't discriminate. Not at all. Now, unfortunately, though, in many cases of sections of our population, real stereotypes. Some of them, if you say you're mentally ill, will perform an exorcism on you. No, it's a fact. It is a fact. So even within the African American community, there's a stigma. And by the way, interestingly enough, the rate of teenage suicide among whites as opposed to African Americans, as they get to age 15, African Americans commit suicide at 50% less than their white counterparts. Now you would say, how can that be? Whites tend to be wealthier, get help, get support. The difference is that the rate of African Americans who still go to church and participate is not way down like it is in the white community. So they have those mentors there to help. I think it's encouraging. And by the way, if you had 1,000 students going, teenagers going to university with one particular disease, there'd be a human drive to say we got to do something. But when it's suicide, it's hard to talk about. That's what we're talking about. Anybody else have a question? Go right ahead. You got to know that people who work here understand all of a sudden a student no longer the grade like they call it. No longer going out and playing on a basketball team or a football team or being a cheerleader. Yeah, and you've got to also educate students to say, if your good friend has lost interest in school, there's something wrong. Go to somebody here at the school and tell them, Joe, Matt, whomever, there's something going on over there. He's down, he doesn't want to participate, doesn't want to go out, doesn't want to go to a party. But likewise, otherwise she was, like the party, something wrong. Never know what. Another thing I'd say is, super knows this, that, in this town, we've had numerous suicides, and some not once in the school year, but, the hard thing to do is you want to reach out, love that family, and if you do it, if you have an assembly, to honor that child, that's a hard thing to do because there's 5 or 6 students in that assembly who are thinking of committing suicide and are saying, gee, Rob, they're saying he was a great guy. I think I should commit suicide too. I want to have that for me. The same way that you did it for Rob. It sounds cold. That's not our natural reaction to what happened. But the benefit of all the others.
Yeah, I'm just a little curious if with regards to the confidentiality of the centers, and how would the children feel on the impact of coming for help and the possibility of bullying or being ridiculed by their fellow classmates? Wouldn't that make the situation worse?
I raised that issue. I raised it here. I Julie, I forget who's the one who worked with you? Because there was some others. Do you want to address that?
I have some very strong numbers to share with the board. From September through December 21st, we had 1,445 student visitations at the high school alone. Obviously, some of them were repeats. We had 47 referrals for outside evaluations, 29 being substance abuse, and 18 being mental health. At the middle school, 672 student visitations during that same time frame, with 11 outside evaluations, 2 for substance abuse, and 9 for mental health. So totally, we had 27 outside evaluations that were suicide evaluations. Coming to the drop-in center freely, sometimes counselor recommendations, parents reach us, other students may be murals. So there really, Mr. Barrera, answering your question, we really haven't had any issues with bullying. We've also run student groups in the drop-in centers on topics such as grief, coping skills, loss, divorce, study skills. So it's really a mixed bag, but as far as this working, I say we just saved one, and that's 27 that we sent out. And there's always follow-up from recommendations of the health provider at the outside agency.
I think it's a positive, the collaborative efforts between the students and the students admitting that they have an issue and their friends, because this opens their eyes to the reality of what we're living in. So,
We've had many students come and say, Johnny Jones needs help, or I'm concerned. And a lot of things happen on social media, even outside of the school on weekends, that come to our attention, which we absolutely follow.
Thank you.
That issue of our generations with the bullying. You know, somebody got bullied, they went home and were safe. Today, that's not the case. That's not the case. You all read about the 12-year-old cheerleader up in Oxford, I guess it was. Well, she got bullied on social media about you weren't invited to this party, everybody else. Unfortunately, she couldn't take it anymore. And, I don't know how, my mother was really fantastic with this issue. And the husband can go on, but they are. It's so that's another example of why we never saw it before in any generations. But we're seeing it now. Yes, ma'am.
As a parent, I know that this administration and specifically the superintendent has been very hands-on. And I'm glad that we're
Something about me? Why?
because it is significant to know and meaningful to know that it's just not in service that we are if you walk the walk. So I know personally, and that's the parents that have issues with their parents, that is a significant experience.
Thank you. How long have you been involved?
Any other board members have any questions?
All right, again, thank you for your time.
Gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for coming, and it's an honor for this board to be partnered with your foundation. And if you stay a minute, I'd like the whole board to go down and take a picture with the
I
senator.
just want you to know you're the first. Well, we have a lot of these up in towns, colleges, universities. This is the first school district. Second, colleges. This is the first school district in the state without.
Take a picture with the senator and the signs.
Governor, excuse me.
Sorry, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, just a nice round of applause to Governor Cody and Matthew for what we're doing for our kids. Thank you, Matt. We have one more presentation for you this evening regarding our academic program. We spoke a little about the Talented and Gifted program. You may remember that as Gifted and Talented. It's all different names now. So, and again, one of the promises we made here as a board when I first got here in 2015 was this was one of the programs we looked at. And one of the things I remember as a young teacher a few years ago, when I was in the classroom, was the fact that I always said that a program of this magnitude throughout the state or even throughout the country sometimes was just based upon a very simple rubric or a very simple metric. So for example, you test into a program and you're in the program. If you don't test into the program, you're not in the program. Certain districts, and again, Commissioner Repolet with DOE 2.0 now, people are looking at this differently, but Belleville is one of those places now with Mr. Vargas at the helm of our Talented and Gifted program, looking at other districts who we believe are doing this the right way, and making sure that there's more than one metric in developing a program like this. For the simple fact that, how do you tell a student or a child or your own child that he or she is gifted or talented one year, and then all of a sudden, a few months later, because maybe they had a bad testing day, you're not gifted or talented anymore? That's not how it works. And that's not how it works anymore in Belleville. Our teachers have done an excellent job taking it upon themselves throughout the day, through their own time, in effectively teaching these specific, special, independent lessons that you're going to be hearing about tonight to make sure that this program is what it is today and what it will be in the future. So, without further ado, I introduce Mr. Vargas. And I don't know if we can turn the lights on. Yeah. Do we have the lights back there? Anyone? Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Thank you, Dr. Tomko, President Grolman, Board Trustees. It's an honor to be here tonight to talk about our district's Talented and Gifted program and highlight some of the great things that are going on in our elementary schools for our highest achievers. For those here tonight, as you entered the auditorium, you saw some of the projects that our talented and gifted teachers and students have been working on throughout the course of the year. So I'd like to take a few minutes to put these projects into perspective so that everybody can get an idea of all the hard work that our students and teachers have been putting in. So, as we get the slide going, Historically in Belleville, the gifted students have been housed in one of our elementary schools using more of a homogeneous approach to instruction. That was years ago. About 3 years ago, we decided to look at more current trends from the experts in gifted education to resurrect the Talented and Gifted program here in Belleville. Thanks to an initiative by Dr. Conco, we've been able to expand our ability to challenge our gifted students, and we're continuing to grow and follow the best practices in gifted education. All right, so currently, the goal of our program is to challenge our highest achievers beyond what the general classroom can provide. We do this through supplemental activities to enrich our highest achievers. We use creative problem-solving opportunities, and we focus on the students' strengths and motivation to keep them engaged and keep them enriched and motivated to take part in the program. So currently, students are found eligible through a rubric completed by teachers. Right now, students in our program can be recommended by their teachers, their administrators, and sometimes parents. The rubric right now assesses students based on their academic achievements, through grades, their reading ability, through DRA scores, and also other characteristics such as their creativity, their motivation, and their leadership to paint a full picture of these students as gifted students. Currently, we have 104 students across the 7 elementary schools that are participating in our Talented and Gifted programs. This year, we have a number of great opportunities for students, including lunchtime programs in every elementary school, participation in county-wide competitions through our involvement in the Essex County Committee for Gifted Education, and as Dr. Campo mentioned before, activities from our new STEM facilitator, Dr. Alfano, who's with us here tonight. As I mentioned, each school has a lunchtime tag program, and each school highlights it in different ways, and everybody is doing projects and activities based on student interest. School 3 has 2 teachers that lead the program, Jackie Carino and Andrea Lewis, who are here with us tonight as well. And we figured what better way to talk about the program and what's going on in School 3, but to have one of our gifted students come up and talk about it, who I know is a much better public speaker than I am. So, come on up here.
Hi, my name is Victoria. I'm in 6th grade, and I've been in the Talented and Gifted program for 2 years. What I've enjoyed most about T&G are the fun and educational projects we take part in. So far, this year we have learned about decomposition, how goosebumps form. We made borax crystal snowflakes and created a structure from popsicle sticks and clay that would allow a tennis ball to roll down it successfully. I am very excited for more fun, interesting projects we will be able to do in the future.
Thank you, Victoria. School 4 is led by Heather McIntyre and Junior Morelli, and as you'll see up here, they have a number of STEM-related projects and activities that the teachers put together, as well as some projects from Dr. Alfano when she spends time in School 4 as well. School 5 is led by Charlene Del Grande, who was here before. I'm not sure if she's still here. And you'll see up here they are working on engineering projects using gumdrops to support various weights. And you may have also seen a number of the students from School 5 out as you entered the auditorium this week today. So it was really great to see a lot of them out here who showed up for the board meeting. School 7 is led by Karen Minikini and Alexa Ayandola. In the fall, you'll see here that the students were using predictions and observations to look at the chemical reactions when candy corn was placed in various liquids. So it was very seasonal and very fitting for the projects and the things that we're trying to bring across with our program. School 8 is led by Elena Chip, and this project was actually from last year, but Elena was able to secure a classroom-sized map of New Jersey, and the students were able to do some problem-solving, higher-order thinking activities with the life-size map of New Jersey. And I'll say, it was really fun for the students, but I think it was also really fun for some of the adults as well. I know I had fun looking at the map. School 9's teachers are Christine Moran and Antonella Fasolino, and you'll see here, we saw some of them outside as well. They are working on an engineering project to design mini golf courses and using the geometric shapes to design these courses, and really works in the engineering and the shapes and some more higher order things that are going on in School 9 as well. School 10 is led by Charlie Moran, who's over there on the corner. Charlie, throughout the course of this year, has been working with the students on Rube Goldberg machines, computer coding, and students problem solving through some of the maker block sets. These are what Dr. Tomko was talking about in regards to getting more materials and projects into these schools to challenge our higher learners. And these are some of the maker kits that we got to help challenge them. So it was good representation there from School 10. As we mentioned before, our new position of STEM facilitator, Dr. Alfano, and Dr. Alfano has been going around to the various elementary schools in order to create various STEM-related activities, one of which being Ozobots, in which students were able to code and chart the paths of various robots. And I will say that while the students had fun with this was another one that I know a lot of the adults had fun manipulating the robots and designing them as well. So you'll hear more from Dr. Alfano in board meetings to come as this program continues to grow. As I mentioned before, our involvement in the Essex County Committee for Gifted Education has really opened up a lot of doors for our students and for our teachers as well. As you'll see up here, our students in the upper elementary grades are right now participating in a number of countywide competitions with students from other districts. In November, our students went to a problem-solving competition in Essex Fells. Usually in December, there's a STEAM engineering competition, which is usually held. And I will say, last Friday, we're really proud to announce that in terms of interpretive forensics, Victoria, who just spoke before, she was one of our first teams that we sent from Belleville to our district-wide our county-wide interpretive forensics competition, which was held at Montclair State University. So that was a lot of fun as well. In the spring, there is a totally global geography league and also a Challenge 24 math game, which I know some of the students outside before were showing some of the board members how to play. So that's really fun as well. And as I mentioned, the students were participating in these events, but that's probably not the right word because we're really competing with the students from other districts in Essex County. So when we compete against students from Livingston and Milburn, you see up here that our students are coming home with trophies and they're really representing Belleville really well. So I know for myself and the teachers who are sending these students to these events, we are really proud to have us say that they're from Belleville and they're doing a really great job of representing us at these countywide events. So we're really proud of that. They're not just showing up, they're actually competing. And finally, as I close, I just want to advertise for our Instagram account. So if you like what you saw and you want to keep up with what's going on in our Talented and Gifted program, please follow us on Instagram at Belleville_talented_gifted. Thank you very much for your time.
So before everyone runs out, thank you again to the teachers in the program. There's a lot of work, Mr. Vargas, Dr. Alfano, everyone who's making this a priority. Again, just incredible things going here. I also want to mention that Mr. Barrera put a challenge on the chess match, the chess team outside for the board. So anyone who plays chess, get ready. Mr. Barrera challenge on kids out there. So we'll actually live stream the event, I think. Again, I want to also, before I leave this to our president, I want to also thank again, I think we didn't give our due, or I didn't give our due support to Ms. Currenti for all that she's done for this mental health program. And Ms. Luna for helping us design those, the stigma-free signs. Took about an hour and a half. So thank you very much, but thank you so much. Progress.
Do we have a state monitor's report?
Thank you. Good evening. Be brief. Much information. I just have some sketchy information here. Basically, the most important thing is that the annual audit, the budget, the CAFRA report is long overdue. And it's overdue because of problems which developed with the Department of Treasury and the pensions section. All the budgets are basically delayed. But we're going to go forward, whether it's totally approved or not, because the major part of it will be approved, is approved. At the next regular board meeting, February 11th, the auditor will be here to review and present to the board and the public the results of their audit. Also, working with the business office, we started to prepare and take the steps to prepare for the 1920 budget. I think the governor will be presenting his state of the state this week, and then after that, the state's budget message. And that's what we need, and every school needs to know what our state aid figures will be for the following school year. Last but not least, the state from Trenton sent auditors in a year ago, and they finished their audit, their report is described, but they come back once a year to make sure that we're making progress. They're with us now, and they should be finished by the next day and tomorrow, and we're going in the right direction. We're making progress, and everything is good. That completes my report. Thank you.
Number 7, resolutions for personnel. Is there any discussion? On the citizens' remarks, no one signed in, and we're going right to resolutions on personnel. Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion on 7-1 to 7-16?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, Matt.
Trustee Barrera. Yes. Trustee Gatto. Trustee Jacko.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Sheldon.
Yes.
Vice President Lamparello.
Yes.
President Rollins.
Yes. There's nothing on resolutions for curriculum and instruction. Is there any discussion on number 9, board action and board policy? No discussion. A motion on 9-1 through 9-19.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Barrera. Yes. Trustee Gatto.
Yes.
Trustee Jacko.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Sheldon. Yes. Vice President Lamparello.
Yes.
President Rollins.
Yes. Is there any discussion on 11, resolutions on finance? Oh, okay, that's 10. I need a motion on 10-1 to 10-2.
Motion. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Barrera.
Yes.
Trustee Gatto.
Yes.
Trustee Jacko.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Sheldon.
Yes.
Vice President Lamparello.
Yes.
President Grollman.
Yes. 11, finance. Is there a motion 11-1 to 11-9?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Barrera.
Yes.
Trustee Gatto.
Yes.
Trustee Jacko.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Sheldon.
Yes.
Vice President Lamparello.
Yes.
President Grollman.
Yes. 12, we have nobody signed up for remarks from citizens. And 13, remarks from board members. Janice?
Good evening. First, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight, and for those of you that watched on our live feed. It was an honor tonight having Governor Cody and stand here to recognize us as the Month 3 School District. Thank you, Ms. Sorrenti, for your hard work, for everything that you're doing, and for sharing with us the data that you have for how the programs have been performing so far from September till now. You and your team are doing an amazing job. Keep up the good work. Also, I hope everyone had an opportunity to see the projects on display outside the auditorium from our talented and gifted program students. They put a lot of work into their projects and it shows. Thank you, Mr. Vargas, for your presentation. I already started to follow the students on their Instagram page. I heard them out there talking about getting followers, so I did it right away. I look forward to seeing their future projects posted on the page. And thank you. I look forward to seeing everybody on our next meeting, February 11th.
Trustee Nelson Barrera?
Good evening, everyone. So I'm going to say the same thing I say every meeting. Where is everybody? With the exception of you two. We need collaboration. We need the parents' interest, the parents' input. Tonight we had a very good presentation of Cody giving us a reality check of the issues that our children face. Not just our students, but our children, no matter where we live in our world. Working together, communicating, learning how to behave as adults and setting the right example for our children is important, which is something that we don't always do. But let's be conscious of that and put our best foot forward. I think it's important. This was very impressive to me tonight. Mr. Vargas, great job. Thank you for putting me on the hot seat about the chess game, but I was impressed with that game. But I'm going to test it out with my grandson first, just so I can get up to speed. So what? So, but I look forward to the challenge. I think the kids did a great job. The teachers obviously, definitely they did. And that's what we got to keep doing. Keep growing, keep moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Erica Jacko?
I want to thank the community for being here. I want to wish the whole community, the parents, the teachers, the administrators, my fellow board members up here, and a happy, peaceful, productive 2019. I want to thank Governor Cody for being here today and shedding light on the mental illness that does happen, that is unspoken sometimes, and we just sometimes are not able to see that there is a solution. I hope that if you are going through any issues, that you seek out someone, that you communicate, that you understand that you can speak to someone, especially our children and our community in general. I also wanted to ask our board president if he could provide the community with information regarding the committees, so that the way you, the public, know that each of us have 2 or 3 committees that we're on, and so that way hold us accountable for our responsibilities and our duties to our school district. So that way we can report to you, we can try to find out the information we need and make sure that our school district in the whole in general has the benefits and reaps those benefits. I want to thank Ms. Garanti for everything that she does. She's a She's a smile all the time, and I think that's very important that our students see that every time they go to student services, where it's hope, where there is, you know, a solution to any problem or any concern that our students have. I want to really thank you for that always. And I look forward to seeing the parents and the community, children, and so forth, the next meeting on February 11th. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Erica. Trustee Liza Lopez.
Good evening. I just would like to begin by saying that I am so elated and proud to be a board member for this school district who is constantly impressing us every month with the many initiatives that in order to the benefit of our students. You know, to echo the comments by my fellow board members, my colleagues here tonight, I'd like to personally thank the team members who are responsible for organizing the Talented and Gifted project, Mr. Vargas, Ms. Demakoff, and Dr. Alfano. This is a very, you know, important program to bring to our students, and I'm so happy to know that it's happening, and under your leadership, thank you for your presentation this evening. And I'm glad to see that you're on Instagram. We've had a little internal debate about social media and what is the most effective platform, and I'm so happy to see that you are reaching community members through Instagram. Good job. Also, with regard to the Stigma-Free School District presentation, I didn't realize that my microphone was off. And for those who may be viewing on the live stream, I'm so thankful for Governor Cody for sharing this program with us, for sharing his personal account regarding mental illness. That was very brave of him to come here tonight and share that with us. And it is a much needed resource for our school community. I was saying that I'm an educator, and you know, people don't realize that schools are a multi-purpose institution. We're not just teachers, we're not just delivering an education, but we're counseling our kids. We're the second parent. Kids come to us with a plethora of issues, right? And to know that here in Belleville, we have this safe haven, we have this organized institution, you know, with trained professionals that can deliver that very necessary service to our kids is a huge, you know, relief. And once again, I'm so proud to be alongside of the colleagues here who are doing this valuable work. I'd also like to echo Ms. Jago's concerns about the committees. Obviously, those appointments were just made, but the committee work is very important. When I was the chair of the finance committee, I tried to deliver, you know, some pertinent comments at every board meeting. I'm no longer the finance chair, but I'd like to see that work continue. And as always, thank you to those community members who are present here this evening. You know, we're always grateful to see you. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Trustee Liza Lopez. Trustee Michael Shelton, and we're timing you. The stopwatch is on, so you know you get a little carried away sometimes, Michael.
I'll keep it under an hour. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to start off by also thanking Governor Cody for his efforts to deal with mental health issues. Having lost the person closest to me in this universe 2 years ago, under circumstances almost identical to Governor Cody's wife, I can readily empathize with what he and his family have gone through. So kudos again to what he and his foundation are doing to help mental health issues throughout our state. I want to acknowledge my gratefulness to Dr. Tomko and our staff for having such a vibrant, gifted, talented program, as well as a newly reinvigorated STEM program. My background, as many of you know, I taught at Stevens Institute of Technology for many years. So these particular academic programs are of great importance to me. To see our students getting such important hands-on instruction and understanding of fundamental scientific and engineering concepts is just the right way to go about this particular area of education. And our students will soon understand important scientific concepts such as why are manhole covers round, and why is it that when sand gets wet, it becomes darker. The answers to those questions actually have profound significance across all areas of our lives, and hopefully soon some of our younger students will be able to explain to the rest of us why things are that way. As both Ms. Jocko and Ms. Lopez said this evening, they would like to see the committee assignments publicized. I just want to tell everyone that I'm very grateful to our new board president for his vote of confidence in appointing me as chair of the Finance Committee and chair of the Operations Committee, otherwise known as Buildings and Grounds. As chair of the Finance Committee, I'm now tasked with oversight of the budget production. Mr. Deacon announced earlier tonight that Governor Murphy is expected to have a State of the State address very soon, so that we'll have some budget numbers in place. But I am planning to go about this budget preparation process in a very different way than this district may have been accustomed to doing for many, many years. I had some discussions with Ms. Lopez about her experience last year as Finance Committee Chair. I came away with the distinct impression that she kind of felt stymied at various turns in her fiduciary oversights in preparing the budget. I'm going to benefit from her experience, some of the things she told me, to make sure that the board has a much greater role in the budget preparation process than it may have previously had. In particular, as I've shared with some of the board members, many of our sister school districts go about their budget preparation in a much more open and transparent way. In particular, I point to Montclair. Montclair is one of the top-ranked school districts in the state, and for their current school year, when they went about preparing their 2018-19 school budget, they began their process in October of 2017 by having a community forum on school funding and finance, so that every stakeholder would know exactly how school budgets are prepared. And then following that, they had a whole series of preliminary budget presentations, so that at every step of the way, the budget wasn't prepared in a conference room with just a handful of people, trustees and top administrators. The budget saw the light of day at every turn. Every single line item was presented to the community so the community members could provide valuable feedback as the budget was being prepared, and not when the final public presentation was taking place, which the same night the board votes to approve it. So I'm going to insist that we emulate some of our sister school districts in having a much more open, transparent, and engaged budget preparation process this time. I'm also the chair of the Operations Committee, which has direct oversight over the referendum. And now many of you know that we have already awarded contracts to do the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing referendum work for this building, the high school, school number 3 and school number 4 this summer. It's one of the reasons why we're not starting the 2019-2020 academic year until September 23rd. But starting this week, on Wednesday, we're actually going to begin pre-bid meetings for additional MEP work for schools 5, 8, 9, and 10. So it's just not this building, school 3 and school number 4, that are going to be engaged in referendum work this summer. We have 4 other schools that are going to undergo similar renovation work, boiler systems, lighting, electrical, plumbing, bathrooms, etc. So as we start this next phase of the referendum process, I've talked to our board president and have asked him to make a slight tweak to the agenda starting next month. What was normal going back a few years ago is that after agenda section 5 was over, that's the administrative report, there would be another special section dedicated to reports from board chairpersons. That way, important, relevant things would be brought out at the beginning part of the meeting and not subsumed in these closing comments. So I've asked our president, Rolman, and I'm hoping the rest of the board members will agree with me that it's really vitally important that we restore that line of reporting, not only for the community's sake, but also so that board members here can fully appreciate and be aware of what the other committees are doing. If I have any beefs with the way things happened last year, my first year on the board, is that I feel that there wasn't much intercommunication between board members, and I'm hoping that with a new president leading our board, that problem will be remedied, and that we'll have much more discussion, not only as a board, but with the community in the weeks and months to come. So I think that pretty much covers all of the important things I wanted to cover tonight. So starting next month, our next board meeting, which I believe is February 11th, I plan to have full reports, not only on the budget, but also on all the aspects of the referendum. So we can look forward to boring everyone to death in a more elaborate way starting next month. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.
President Brownman to the chair, if I may. Just to comment on that just a little bit. Mr. Brownman did speak to me previously about adding that section to committee reports. We are researching, I think it's a bylaw, possible bylaw change. So I will present that to the president and the board, or the board committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Marisol. You weren't that bad. Vice President Chris Lombardo.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm going to start off. I want to thank Governor Cody for coming. It's an honor that we are the first school district that gets to participate in this program. Congratulations to all the gifted and talented kids that have been following on Instagram for a while now. I'm just amazed at all the fun stuff we get to do. Okay, so there was talk about committee assignments. Within the next month, you're going to be able to go onto our website. You're going to get to see the new perked up version of the board member section. On there, you'll get to see our smiling faces and pictures, a bio about us, and there will also be on there what committees we are on, chair, and participate in. So you'll get to know a little bit more about us. We are going to be partnering with the township to do a color run. That's going to be on April 6th. They're going to be coming in and talking to our kids in February about it to get them all psyched up for the idea. That's going to be right in front of the building, around the driveway, out onto the safe, around the division, and back around again. It should be a fun day. I think registration is going to be at 9, and I think the race is going to start at 10. There's an art program through the township right now at the Friendly House. If anybody's interested in participating in it, you can go to the rec to find out about that. Same thing with the hockey program. There's a hockey program that they started up in conjunction with a nonprofit organization. As many people know, hockey is a very expensive sport, and this is absolutely and totally free to our students. They have 50 spots open, and as of last week, they still had some spots left. So if your child is interested in participating in hockey, this is your chance to do it. Great. You can check with the rec house on that. Friday night here, we have the spelling bee with the women's club. That's at 6:30. And if you're hungry after this, the wrestling team is having a Dr. Night over at Mike's Roscommon House, and that is over at 10. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Chris Lombardo. I'm just honored to be up here, honored to partner with the Cody Foundation. We're really moving in great directions. And I'd like to thank all the board members that I'm working up here, working in unity together. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Do you have a motion to adjourn? All in favor? Any against? Thank you.